By about 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock on election day, all hell broke loose. We started getting phone calls from people at various precincts where there were Obama people getting sign-ins for the precinct conventions before the polls had even closed. We had people who were getting shouted down and intimidated if they were for Hillary Clinton.
But they jumped, and then they were trying, see there, you raised your arm, and you voted, they told me. This man said, you voted. I said,
For Obama?
what? Yeah, for Obama. Bent into my face. Like, what are you doing in my face?
Telling me
that, yes. Telling me I had voted, that I had done all this and that. I said, no, I didn't. He said, you had your hand up, and I said, no, I didn't. But I talked with my hands, and I wasn't talking to y'all. I had turned to her.
And
But
when he got
anyway, so he was right there in my face. It was really bad.
when he got real challenging and got where his hand was coming up towards her, I reached up and grabbed his arm and pulled
That's
it down.
right.
I said, she is disabled. Back off.
In these sheets, the ones that I have marked out, and these are the ones that I couldn't find. And
The pink?
yes,
Okay.
and there were 14 of them. Up here, the name is Obama, so this was an Obama sheet, and all the names on this sheet were assumed to be Obama. But this was when they were being passed all over.
So in
the
other
place.
words, those 14 names are people that don't exist in that county.
Yes,
Okay.
right, or they did not vote. And one of the things to caucus is you have to vote. And I wanted to check and make sure that all these names, that these were the right totals, because when you look at the minutes, the way the delegates were apportioned, it would be 11 Obama delegates and 5 for Clinton, because our whole precinct, we were supposed to get a total of 16. So the way the voting went, it would have been 11 to 5. If these numbers were right, I didn't necessarily feel they were right. So when I went through and found 14 names not there, when you extrapolate those numbers out, it shows that the delegate count, the 11 to 5, was wrong. And keep in mind, the sheet that my name was on was missing. So I can only give you what I have in here.
So basically, Obama would have gotten more delegates?
No, Clinton would have got more delegates. The numbers, and that was part of the thing, the remedy too in the challenge letter was, if nothing else, just to go to the way the county voted, which would have then made it 10 Obama delegates, 6 Clinton delegates. This way we had 11 and 5, and that makes a difference when you go to count for going to the state. There was going to be 1 delegate and 1 alternate. So this actually made a difference with the totals and who at the delegates as they go to state and how they're allocated. The numbers that we could show skewed everything, and they knocked them just a little bit and a little bit more in Obama's favor, and just take that little bit and add it up. And yeah, I'm sure she won the popular vote in Texas, and back in February, everything, you gotta, if the delegates can't make the decision, you have to go with the popular vote. Well, now that she's got the popular vote and Obama has stolen the delegates and the super delegates, this is okay, this is cool, that's not right.
Yes, in Indiana. That was the only election day that I actually worked. And I came to Indiana early afternoon, about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And in coming off the expressway, I was just sort of riding through the communities to sort of get a feel for what was going on. I had not gone to the office yet. And I was driving down a street, and it was off of Grant Street, but I can't remember where. There were some guys that had put up lawn chairs in front of the door on the walkway going into the, it was some kind of community center or something. And there was, so I got out, I stopped and parked my car, got out of the car, and there was this lady, probably about 80 years old, who was sort of walking slowly up the street. And as she was approaching the entranceway to go into the building, one of the young men said to her, if you're not voting for Obama, go home, because you're not voting here today. And she turned and walked away. The pain that I felt because of the people who have fought for African Americans to have the right to vote. And this fight has been a battle that has gone on for many, many, many years. And to see two African American young men denied the right under a veiled threat of violence to a woman who was the elder, a woman who looked to be around 80 years old, and not allowing her the opportunity to vote, I found appalling. Whereas while I was standing there, there were other people approaching, maybe 4 or 5 people approaching. And when they heard that, they all turned and walked away, or continued to walk in the direction that they were going in. And for two young men to just feel that the end justified the means for reaching that end caused me great grief.
Well, it was interesting. At the caucus itself, I noticed a lot of things that should not have been taking place at a caucus. For instance, when we brought the 4 elderly people, and they were all in their 80s or 90s that we brought to this caucus location, I went to check 2 of them in while my partner that day went to go pick up the other 2 people. So I'm trying to check these 2 elderly women in, and the first thing I noticed is when we got to the caucus location, there were Obama supporters everywhere just putting stickers on people as they'd walk in the door. Whether you wanted an Obama sticker or not, if you weren't fast enough to stop them before they put it on you, you could be plastered with it. So I'm bringing in these 2 old ladies. They were about 90 years old each, and the Obama people had gotten about 3 stickers on them before I even realized what was going on. I had to tell them, no, stop. They're here with me. They were for Hillary Clinton. And the people didn't even stop then. They just kept putting the stickers on the people. But everyone knows, and being from Chicago, you know this too, how things work politically. Like when the machine is behind someone, they use every resource available to push that person. So we were told that's what would be happening at this caucus in Dubuque, Iowa as well. I'll tell you exactly what happened. There were 2 women who were sitting there at the tables checking in people, looking over names. I went standing behind the 2 elderly women that we brought to the caucus location, and they mysteriously could not find their names in the book. And their names were like Jane Smith and, Maxine Jones. And the 2 Obama supporters, when they saw that these 2 women had Hillary stickers on them, not just all those Obama ones, because I had given them Hillary stuff, they mysteriously couldn't find their names in the book. And so they weren't going to let them caucus. They said, oh, you must be in some other caucus. And I just said, look, lady, I'm from Chicago. I came all the way out here. I know tricks like this. Let me see that book. Or we're going to get the precinct captain over here, and we're going to look, and we're going to find the name together. I guarantee this woman's in here, because she's not a liar. She's 90 years old. She's been looking forward to this. Don't tell me she's not in the book. Well, then, wouldn't you know it, miraculously, mysteriously, once I made that big of a push, she magically found her name in the book and then let her go, to be part of the caucus. We had 2 other elderly people that were coming as well that my friend had gone to get while I was checking in these 2. Well, when they came to check in, the exact same thing happened with them. And once again, they were wearing Hillary Clinton stickers that we had given them. And when they went to go and look in the registration books for their names, couldn't find their names either. So we had to go through that whole process again. I noticed that was not happening for any of the Obama people or people that just had those Obama stickers. They were just getting waved right through.